second game of the ALGS on E-District. Fnatic, of course, back at Street Market. They had no choice. We put them back there. We were like, game one was so good, just do it again.
Yes, just do it again. All you have to do is loot 2 whole circles, if not more, pick the right side, and then, just kill a couple of teams, right? That's easy.
Yeah. We haven't talked about this. Let's point this out. So I'm a big fan of Rampart, and I'm sure that a lot of our viewers, a lot of our more dedicated viewers, may already have figured this out, may have had it noticed, or may have noticed it, may have had it pointed out. Let's talk about the Nemesis, and specifically the Nemesis's interaction with Rampart.
Yeah, I mean, as we know now, when you shoot people, you actually get ult charge and also you get more shield, right? And the biggest thing is that Sheila, the thing about Sheila is very scary because when you have that weapon on your back, you actually get Sheila ammo back when you down somebody with the Sheila. And I think people are looking to do that, but not only, like, outside of sticking, to the meta specifically, Rampart is really good into Newcastle. Before when, his Q was indestructible, you could have argued differently. But now, people are going early rotates, except a couple of teams. And you want to make sure you can deny as much base as you can without wasting resources. I'm sure people would have thought that we might have seen more Lobas. And if we would have seen more Lobas, that could have negated the fact that you don't really need shield because you have unlimited ammo and everything, right?
Yeah.
But people opted for Ramp because not only do you have the Sheila for more punishing factors on the Newcastle, you also have a little bit more defensive utility, which honestly nobody dislikes. Everybody loves, feeling a little bit comfy.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this meta, defensive utility is only going to make you feel even better about the fact that you're already basically impossible to push if you set things up right. And that even goes for a team like Source X and Y, who have not gotten a lot of time to loot, have not gotten any Evo to speak of, but have a zone coming to them. And I think this is one of the metas where a lack of Evo, if you are already in a good spot in zone, is the least punishing because it is so easy to get.
Yeah, it really is, and this zone specifically, there's really 3 pulls that normally happens here. It either goes all the way south, doesn't look like that one. Could it be the one on the southeast side? And when you have a place here, this area right here has so much, like, in Humbert Labs, I mean, has so much playable area. There's like, already right here where we see right now on the screen, it could be like 12 playable areas, especially now you add on to Rampart Newcastle as well. You can make that 15. I'm really looking forward to seeing a high amount of teams alive here because the action late game, impeccable.
Yeah, and right now, because there's so many spots to coexist in, there's also a lot of room for new teams to arrive. My question is how they're going to choose to do it, because I think that actually trying to land here is a little bit more difficult than simply trying to walk in because there's so much ground cover. This is one of the spots in E-District that I think it is better to walk to, especially if you're landing in this like whole quadrant of the map. Even if you're landing over an Electro Dam, I'd rather see you walk through Heights and Stadium and then try and find a place in Humbert Labs.
And also, we see a little bit of aggressiveness early on. This will only last early on because now you say there's only 3 teams here. We can still pressure them. Maybe we can get a kill and a thirst, right?
Yeah.
But as we see more teams progressively, like you said, sneak in a little bit, walk in from different sides, people are going to opt to be more passive and just poke longer ranges because you don't want to accidentally have to, get into an actual 3v3. You just want to poke people to make sure, hey, we're here. You don't get this for free. Just don't go to the other team, but not here.
Yeah, one of our notable teams from last match we're playing on the edge are, no surprise, once again playing on the edge. TSM made their rotate up near Heights and have now moved down through to Stadium, where they'll be able to collect a little bit of additional loot, but realistically, it's just about maintaining the slow sort of play style that you get on the edge, and hopefully for TSM, find a home in Humbert that is a little bit less conspicuous, but that lets them bully a team that otherwise may not suspect that they have a vulnerability.
Yeah, most definitely. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Source X and Y again because although, they held out early on, they didn't have too many points, but they're still in a comfortable spot here with teams. Honestly, majority of the leaderboard are kind of comfy. They managed to get, as you can see, 6, 6, 6, 20, like there's so many points across the board except I think the bottom 4. This could still go any way because all you really need is one top 3 and you can make back for 1 or 2 bad games depending on, how many kills you get.
Cloud9 going to be one of the teams that would certainly like a little bit more to have gone on last game. They did not hit that 5-point threshold that I think we can say we were all hoping for anyone. But unfortunately, not everyone's going to get to do it. So maybe this is Cloud9's game where they can move on up to 5. However, they have landed in Stadium, which is, as we just said, where we saw TSM rotating through. And it's not just TSM in the area. VK Gaming are also off to the northwest.
Yeah, and as we can see, X and Y, like I said, early on people will fight. X and Y popping off in the bubble fight, so with the EVA and only for one trade in support Manadia, not even scary.
And that's Virtus Pro that just went down, the team that was slaying out in the early game last match. This looked good for them, but X and Y.
The biggest thing is that we talked about caustic strengths, right? Inside smaller tunnels, smaller areas. This area is not that small. Gas might be good. The little big stinker coming in, not too hot because the area is too big. And, you know, X and Y just probably played a bubble fight better.
I mean, that is, I think, results-based. We can call it results-based. You know, like, because they won,
probably played it better.
They probably played it better.
But yeah,
if they played it worse,
they probably.
But they won. They played it better.
No, but I think it's definitely hard because when you have a character that's only good in, I wouldn't say niche, Caustic is better than niche, but when you're only good in certain scenarios and that scenario does not happen, you're really kind of playing two legends and a blank character.
Yeah, you know, it's odd. I used to feel that way about Rampart, that Rampart in a pro setting was only good in a few scenarios, but now because of Gibby Newcastle's existence, that scenario is way more often,
And not only that, she also received buffs, remember?
Yeah,
so
of course.
With the ult, and you start with the Sheila pretty much and everything else, and I think it's a good because that's, you know, seeing characters like you said, I felt that way about this character, no longer the case, means the game has progressed, evolved, and we see a little bit refreshing sides, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. What I'm seeing right now is, unfortunately, Fnatic losing one. Leica was really split up there. You would have seen it on the minimap just a few seconds ago, but with Fnatic having only lost one and not anywhere close to losing more, they should have a chance to reset. This will push them even further onto the edge, where they've been rotating near Shopify Rebellion for a very long time.
The thing is this is also Ring 2 countdown. It's not scary at all. With the support map, and you have ranges pretty much unlimited on the map. They can survive for 2 more zones if they wanted to. I'm looking to see a clean reset here pretty easily.
It'll just be a matter of time for Fnatic. They'll likely actually rotate in behind Shopify Rebellion in a little while. A team like Cloud9, who's already dead center of zone, are making sure they don't eat too much damage, and that's just a harassment Sheila that's come in on top of them. It's not really any cause for worry, but it does constrain Cloud9's ability to play any open space.
And like I said before, I said it might pull to the southeast side on this zone. It ended up pulling exactly where I expected it to be. This zone is one of my absolute favorites to play in ranks, in scrims, in tournaments, especially on LAN. I wish I could have played, that would have been fun. But we're going to see so much action later on when in 2 zones. So zone 4 closing is the most high-octane gameplay I've seen. Speaking of Octane, love that character.
Speaking of Octane, very situational.
Very situational. Very niche.
Very niche.
Very niche.
Very cool. Very cool. I almost wish that we saw a little bit more Octane, if only so that we could see Fnatic play Octane. That would be really exciting. The mechanical ability that Octane exacerbates would be fantastic. Now, FaZe have found a knock, but this is Complexity's fight, and I'm not sure whether they'll actually fully take this. It is Source X and Y on the other side, and Source X and Y have already taken out Virtus Pro.
I like this because they're showing their teeth, regardless of not if they fight, they're showing, hey, don't you think you can take our space? We're gonna
Whoa!
Speaking of punishing,
they got rocked up on from behind. NRG takeout too, and Complexity can do nothing about it. I cannot believe that they didn't get to watch their backs. Now, Source X and Y do walk up, but they get bubbled on immediately, backing all the way up. Johnny does have a lot of safety, so NRG are unlikely to push this, but that's 2 kills that NRG did not have to work for.
Yeah, did not have to work for. Here they come though, Empty and Koiful cleaning up Oblivion, and they're chasing the last one. They definitely had to work for that, I assume, because they're on the edge. But they picked the side which is not congested, so they could have this fight for free in a 3v3.
think that, yeah, they let this go. So Oblivion actually likely survive, if not fully reset here, but that makes another kill for Shopify Rebellion, a kill that totals them 2-3. Now, Shopify Rebellion had a very quiet game in game number 1, but they were a lot of people's favorites in this group.
Yeah, definitely a favorite. I think everybody can respect, you know, the caliber of players that they have on that team. Never mind quiet game or not, they had 9 points, I believe. They're still on pace to making it to top 10, which is the most important. Like, group stage is really important to get warm and feeling good and getting rid of these jitters and getting locked in for later stages of the tournament. Being on pace is the most important part, because now you will feel like you can breathe again rather than being scared of, you know, going into the lower bracket.
Yeah, it's funny that even on the first day we can be saying, oh, you know, you'll feel like you can finally breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much of the tournament left to go, but even now you are setting up expectations and really the ability for yourself to make it that much further into the tournament, or at least the likelihood. Now, Fnatic did make that full recovery that we talked about earlier, as Shopify Rebellion have taken the advantage that they got and left Fnatic and Oblivion both taking the slow rotates on the western side. Very curious what routes both of these two teams take, especially Fnatic, who were rotating down towards the south again. Do they do that once more, or are they forced into a direct route into the zone?
I think it mostly comes down to Meteor, as we see on the north side of the map. Will they run into Fnatic side, or will Fnatic run into Oblivion? Whichever side they end up running into will decide whether or not which team gets 3-peat, because if Fnatic is the ham, it's not a good thing. If they can just take a straight 3v3, however, I think Fnatic is looking very hopeful. Like, once again, because they're on the side that's not congested. And if they get to clear that side out, as we can see on the map as well, that bridge on the western side is really solid.
Yeah, I mean, Meteor actually now, because they're running Valkyrie, I forgot, almost nobody else is running Valkyrie, but they get to know where everyone else is set up. Super useful for them to plan out this next rotate. Fnatic did end up choosing to go south, and it's put them right up against Oblivion. Nice head peek being used by Meltstera, but there's not a lot of damage to come with it, so Fnatic are going to keep on moving forward, using that cover you talked about on E-District that lets them make up so much distance.
They get the gap close a lot easier than before. All they have to do is nade and keep pushing. Not only that, they're not only coming with momentum from respawning, they're coming with momentum from winning the first game, Dia. They are scary and they are looking to fight, and they're also red, purple, purple running into triple blue. If I'm them, I'm holding W.
Yeah, they know what's up, and a bubble on the outside is, I think, just enough for Oblivion to start the disengage, but I don't think it's enough for them to finish it. There's a lot of open space here. Fnatic are trying to out-heal the zone. It's going really slowly for Meltstera, though, who does not benefit from the support passive, and is going to go down here. Fnatic, I think they've overplayed their hand. Oblivion are just going to eat these kills up.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Although you can out-heal this zone, you gotta make sure that you're, having proper timing to heal. Have you learned your proper heal timings yet? If not, you get punished.
Guild are picking up some kills as well. That is Exo suffering loss. This is Oblivion do get sent on. Fnatic suffered a lot of damage, and now it's Meltstera in a 1v2 in an EVA with the bubble fight, and isn't going to quite make it. Oblivion, LCQ from NA, take the fight and get sent by Meteor immediately, pushing them back into the zone. Meteor claim these kills, and I did not have that in my book. Graceful, seeing Meteor come down and take out Fnatic and Oblivion, that's different.
The thing is that 3v3 was not clean. Meteor came to clean that up, and that's great. Another fight happening on the bridge as we speak. BK Gaming getting into a bubble fight, getting mopped by Shusho, is immediately taking out 3 people on his own with the BK. That's a big fight. I wish I could replay that.
I mean, this was a team that very much impressed us over at Split 2 playoffs with how aggressive they were able to be. Shadow 3690, very nice team to watch when they're able to get the momentum like you talked about. And it's a difficult task to do that on the first day of LAN, but it's something that at least in Game 2, they've now got a bit of, and we'll see how much they can turn that into.
Meteor also managed to get that bridge area I was talking about to set up with their characters, but you said they were playing Valkyrie. It might be a little bit harder to set up the bridge, but we'll see how they can do with still playing double support. Cloud9, however, looking to just hold teams out because the zone is indeed closing right now.
And this is the zone that you said was going to get chaotic, and Cloud9 are feeling that huge PK shot from Naughty, and he's playing inside the Newcastle bubble, but the second one doesn't land, still gets the kills, still manages to survive as Shadow 3690 fall out of favor. Shubi is going to be knocked. Cloud9 do want to pick their third back up, but they do not have the time, the safety, the energy, as they've got to run for the hills.
Yeah, running for the hills is indeed the case, because this zone hurts a little bit too much to heal properly. And as teams are collapsing from the north side, as we saw, there's still so much stable areas. There's 13 teams alive right now. Fights happening on the roofs even.
Shopify Rebellion have been on a rampage all game. They've already got one knock here. Rez has gone off, but it's an instant re-knock. And Green Stego should be falling here. That is 2 down as Dexter goes himself. But Shopify Rebellion give up the chase. They're not looking for too much more. They're just finishing off these kills and prioritizing height.
Make sure they're prioritizing height is the objective, and they play that really well. They said, hey, get these kills, get the thirst, stay on roof. We do not want to give up this space, because next zone, we can make stuff happen. We can win the game.
Guild have started to move up here onto FaZe. This is a bit of a different fight, not nearly as aggressive as the Shopify Rebellion one, but FaZe should be looking to take a little bit more space than they are. Right now, playing defensively, it's very tough to actually police who's able to push up on you, and I like this peek from Synetic, although he does lose a lot of HP for it. FaZe playing carefully. Double P20, double Mozambiques. I was very confused. Double Mozambiques in the hands of JMW. Not a bad selection, although not as good as they once were.
Yeah, I would assume that he probably didn't find anything that he wanted to. The biggest issue is Zone is about to move again, and you are forced to take a fight, because RNGing, hoping that stuff is free, is not the way. But who knows, sometimes more stuff is open than you believe, because everybody might have the same assumption. This is definitely taken, and sometimes those spots aren't taken.
Synetic, first PK shot not going to connect. It's time for a bubble fight, and unfortunately doesn't quite go his way. The G7 starts to actually click though! And FaZe win the fight, but lose to the zone. Guild are going to collect a few kills as well as Dragons go down. It's a quick reset for Guild that doesn't seem to be getting them punished. Shopify Rebellion still set up on height. Green Stego right behind them, but Shopify Rebellion look unchallengeable right now.
Yeah, being triple red, keeping the height the entire game. They're now stacked as well, and Zone ends actually in front of them. They're going to be looking to close out this game in my eyes, because they have the absolute best opportunity with how stacked they are, with where the zone is ending, and absolute height. I think it's going to be a bloodfest.
Yeah, I mean, this should be the spot where not only do Shopify Rebellion win the game, but they do so with so many kills. In fact, because Shopify Rebellion are looking so good, I want to see how they're feeling. Let's jump into a listen in with Shopify Rebellion.
Let's go down and shoot.
These guys are gonna send them!
Right.
These guys are gonna send them! Dead end!
Nice. Newcastle,
Focus.
One HP, Newcastle. Right for one. Kill that one. Nice.
Give me one!
Look for more kills.
Dead end!
What is another?
They're fighting for
All dead.
Nice.
Everyone's dead there.
Quick!
Matt, can we get this spot? No, new team.
They're fighting for us! Guys, they're fighting for us! Watch this! Look here!
Yeah, I got you.
I'm about to have kills! I'm looking with you.
You guys luck.
Give me!
Okay, careful. Guys, can we get this spot now? Guys, listen. Actually, no, look at that.
Last one!
Can we wipe then? Is it one team?
Yeah! Shoot it! Yeah, no, come in! Go.
I'm getting shield.
Yep.
No, it's
We need to focus the fuck out of these guys!
The new team down here, guys.
I have to get my ward in. Either we play for this here. We play this here. Okay. Can I loot real quick, Sandy? I've got nothing.
No, there's a team down here, bro.
Okay, wait. I'm getting ward down here.
Yeah, we just get here. We hold our back and we get it there. Alright, run God, I have GBO, I holding a wrap. You guys do you, alright?
Yeah. Probably double cell.
Play with them, bro.
Yeah, I'm playing up high. Yeah. Hold high.
Alright, guys, I have 2 optics out there. Our wrap is good now. Our wrap is entirely good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start playing right and
I need shield. I'm 1-4.
Bro,
Everybody relax, bro. Everybody fucking relax. How much fucking calm? Can I quickly shoot this?
Shoot in the mid-corner. So much damage on
They're all in this wall, bro. They're all in the wall.
Okay, carry the walk up left. Matt, carry left. Give out the... Alright, I don't need to use this up. I don't need to use buff, alright?
Yep. We're out here.
Picking. We're chilling. I'm gonna give you all
I need some shotgun ammo.
Dropping you.
I can't. I'm good.
Burning them there.
Body down below.
That's fine. Just worry about the team. I'm gonna give you out the...
I'm shooting wall.
Give you out the...
Did you get me?
We're gonna slide and play for a second.
No walls yet.
Bobbing here.
I have no shotgun ammo. I can drop you all of it. Okay, take this. Look here. In the lane.
Four, no, Coin, look right and get walls. Get wild right, get wild
Yeah.
right. Jim, you catch the wall, you catch the wall.
Yes, I do. I can wall on them.
You catch the wall, you catch the wall.
I can wall on them.
Yeah, do it.
Yes.
Fight. Nice.
He's
Pull it
moving
down,
back.
go.
Play more.
Play back.
Kitty one.
Nice, go. Fight down, fight down.
Newcastle won, guys.
We go to one.
Just landing, nice. Good shit. Good fucking shit, boys.
Really good fucking
Right there.
second.
In the nick of time as 100 Thieves come up from below to sneak the win away from them. That was such a fantastic end game. But Shopify Rebellion could have learned a lesson from France. You cannot fight a war on two fronts.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that regardless of not winning or not, they had so many kills that pushes them up really, really far. But like you said, 100 Thieves came in waiting for the 3P to clean up the fight because it's chaotic. When you have that many areas and you need to deny everybody, I think they killed like 5-6 teams with the Sheila and stuff.
Yeah.
So when it's that many teams going down, essentially at some point, high or low will be free. Whichever side is free gets its 3P. 100 Thieves takes home the win, and that's really solid.
Watching Shopify drop down and wipe Green Stego was so not just impressive, because understandably, they're able to clean up the kills. A lot of pro teams may be able to do the same thing in the right situation, but their comms were particularly impressive during that time as well, because Shopify Rebellion were able to drop down from height, retain control of height, whilst also doing that to another team.
The biggest thing is that you could hear the IGL calm the team down, because you are getting, it's not even, you're getting excited. When you're getting 3, 4, 5 kills, at some point you will get tunnel vision, because one, you're having so much fun, and two, you're popping off. And it's really good that the IGL is reeling them back. Hey, look to the right. I know you got a kill, look to the right. And they're always on the same page. Keeping your team on the same page is so important. And we saw that from top to bottom to the right, and then GP ulting, and then wiping, and then they even called for it. We need to wipe per second. They tried their best, but they were always on the same page, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really good game from Shopify Rebellion. Also, a fantastic game from 100 Thieves, who on the low ground were a much less visually dominant team, but took a lot of kills on the way there with, Design and Timmy showing up big in the end game. But we've also got, of course, Shopify Rebellion up there, and Koifel really impressing with the 2.4K.
Yes, and Koifel, as we saw as well, cleaning up several kills. And I think they're so good at dividing attention at who looks at what. He even said, I'm the Gibby, I got the GP ult, you guys look that way. So they know what their roles is. And Koifel, as everybody expects and knows from previously, has the gunpowder, the firepower.
Yeah, even in the end game, when Shopify Rebellion got climbed on by 100 Thieves, I don't think that was something that they didn't know was likely to happen, because their comms didn't suddenly become panicked about what was happening. They knew what they needed to do. They were still comming their checklist for how they were going to win the game. This 100 Thieves thing wasn't like, oh my gosh, somebody's on the high ground, our game is ruined, we need to change everything. They knew what was happening. And even that in the end game, despite the fact that they weren't able to clinch the win, still very, very good for them. And of course, congratulations to 100 Thieves, although they do not hold the top position, as after 2 games now, Shopify Rebellion are the ones in first.
Indeed, I think that, seeing these teams pop off one after another, and they're all playing differently. The most important part is we've seen different playstyles come out on top, Edge and Soul Play, and they're both amazing.
Yeah, we are 2 games in now. E-District has been an interesting journey for us, Graceful, but it is a journey that's going to have to come to a close, because we've got, next up, Stormpoint coming up. That is going to be a return to perhaps the old familiar that a lot of you are used to. We'll be back in just a few seconds with Stormpoint and the ALGS Championships.
the official monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Hug the height. They're gonna fight. Yeah, where's me? Pull in the corner. I'm the bomb. Fine. We're good. Play here. I have a map for you. Yeah, play. I'm good. Teams above. Yeah. They're gonna fight. Wait for Nox. I'm putting walls. Both teams above, just stay on low. No, come here. Come up. To left. I'm going left. Come up. All that. Let's go! Let's go!
Game 2 was everything that 100 Thieves needed, wanted, more. But now it's time for us to change things up. As Graceful, we have seen the new. We have brought the ALGS to Japan. We have seen E-District, and now it's time to give our teams something a little bit more familiar to fight over on the LAN stage. And that is going to be starting with our return to Stormpoint. This is a nice pivot for us. Graceful, I've missed casting Stormpoint. I haven't cast it since LCQ that we did with you in NA and EU.
Yeah.
That was quite fun. But I want to know what you're looking forward to about Stormpoint, because E-District gave us a very unique look at Apex Legends. It's a map that plays very differently to any of the other ones that we have in rotation. So talk to me about Stormpoint and what we might expect to see here.
I think Stormpoint specifically has, like we know, like I would rate them in 1, 2, 3. E-District has the most open areas where you can rotate without being compromised or ambushed randomly on the map. Stormpoint would be the second then, and World's Edge would be first, where you can end up fighting anywhere. I think we're gonna see more fights than before. So I think maybe less teams overall alive. There is less playable area due to the fact that, like you said about the buildings as well, not really being as holdable as, you know, on E-District. I think we'll see more fights in general, but what I'm looking forward to the most is the teams that haven't pulled out the success on E-District. Will this new map be a pivot for them? Because we don't really see the POI picks either. So we haven't really seen, you know, did they prioritize Stormpoint over E-District? Some teams might have, and if they had a bad E-District, now is the time where they need to pop off, because we're already 2 games past. You only have 4 more games to get that average point up.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at this because we, like you said, had a lot of teams that really didn't prioritize E-District as much, I think because it's a much more adaptable map,
Yes.
whereas Stormpoint is the place, and World's Edge is the place where a lot of people will go, well, this is where my first pick of POI is going to go, because of how important it is. And we actually get to see that right now as it's going to come up on the left-hand side of your screens. Those numbers, that's the order, the pick order that these POIs were taken in.
Yeah, and as we can see, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, there's so many picks here that are prioritizing making sure that they play well on this map, because although, you know, everything is subjective. Some teams might play better on other maps than some, even though some teams deem those maps harder or easier, right? However, making sure that you make sure that your average is higher than normal, then if we had a bad map, we need now a good map. And seeing these picks, I feel like they are definitely making sure that, hey, this is probably our hardest map. Let's make sure we get solid here. And then maybe they're more comfortable in World Edge.
Yeah, could be. I mean, this is also an area where, and I want to see how you feel about this. You said that maybe we would see different teams succeed here than we saw in E-District. And it's funny that we saw teams that were playing Edge actually succeed a lot on E-District, where it seems at its face like a zone-oriented map.
Yeah, the thing is that I think people are playing more zone-oriented because that's how we've been playing for 5 more years, 5 years plus. But we're also seeing, you know, the success of playing Edge already from 2 years ago, I would say.
Yep.
But E-District is one of the easiest maps to have success due to the fact, like I said, you're not really getting held at choke points. You're not really meeting people on your macro. you have so much space to take these fights. All it comes down to is timing and which side. And now when we come to Storm Point, you get held a lot harder than on Niederstrich, and I think we'll see that happen.
I expect so. You know, one of the interesting things is that Edge teams have almost been rewarded by this meta as well, where as much as you have so much defensive capability, Edge teams have always been the ones that really have to play in those slivers of timing as to when it's the right time to push, how close they can get to you, and that's the most important thing about being able to possibly take a fight against a Gibby Newcastle.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, before it was, this is the sliver of opening we need to make it in. Now you have Newcastle Q, Newcastle Ult, Gibby Bubble, and when you have more utilities to make that, it makes Edge easier for these teams when they're playing this team composition. So yeah, it definitely amplifies what we're saying with Edge play.
A lot of cross-map mobility you're going to see prioritized here on Storm Point, as there is a lot of open space in the sky, and there are cars, or as we'll call them here, tridents, because the car is also a gun, and that just gets really confusing if we start using them interchangeably.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's very, very true. People call it Ferrari.
yeah. Well, I don't think I'm gonna say that.
No, I would just say, like, a lot of people say trident as well.
Yeah.
Normally I would say car, because I'm not gonna lie, car doesn't get used that much.
Yeah.
So the car is the vehicle, and the other car is non-existent for the moment, but it'll be back. I remember
But it got
when
the
it
hop
dropped.
up.
It did get a hop up, but the thing is that car is close range.
Yeah.
Shotgun is times 100 better in close range.
Yeah.
Until shotgun gets out of meta and or nerfed in a little way, or the team composition changes to where you don't have to play bubble fights, car might see some, you know, usage then.
Yeah.
Until then, however, I'm sticking to Eva Mastiff and PK.
You know, it's interesting because in the pre-game segment, Lace was talking to Timmy about Apex Legends, and he said, oh, you know, you should pick up a controller because controller makes the game nice. And it's funny that we're still saying that, we're still laughing about that in this particular patch, this particular meta, where shotguns are so prevalent, and shotguns have for so long been considered an MNK specialty.
Yeah. No, I mean, it has been considered an MNK specialty, but as you have to remind yourself of, we're going into 5 years plus into Apex. The first 3 years, roller players weren't good on shotgun. They've had 5 years to practice and excel at shotgun. And honestly, I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't think roller players is that much worse on shotgun bubble fights right now. Sure, they can't really tap strafe and do these mechanical gifted aspects of maybe baiting shots as much. But if we're just talking straight up shotgun fights, 9 out of 10 times you're just triple peeking. You don't really do too much of the tap strafe, unless you're Fnatic, who is very mechanically gifted, etc. You just peek and shoot, and they can hit their shot. Like, everybody in this tournament, everybody in this match we're about to watch can hit their shot. They can two-pump you, all of them.
I just had an intrusive thought, and because the game is paused, I'm going to say it, and that'll be fun.
Let's go.
Can you imagine how, I mean, obviously Fnatic won their first game today. They might not need any more buffs. This might just be the craziest land for Fnatic ever. But can you imagine how crazy Fnatic would play if we made it so that you could wall bounce off the Gibby bubble? Yes. That would be sick. It would be completely not the correct choice, and I'm not suggesting that to the development team, but it would be interesting.
So this is why Dia is not on the dev team?
Yes.
It would be cool though. So, you know, I'm down for, you know, a game mode that is more creative, adding a little bit of new stuff. They're like, hey, you know, this is a mystery mode, and in this mystery mode, they do random buffs and nerfs, and one of them is you can now wall bounce on bubble fights.
So sick, actually. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. We added a lot of crazy stuff this season alone, and it looks like we're going to get our unpaused soon, so you'll get to stop engaging in the nightmare fuel that I'm giving to our developers right now. We do have just a few seconds, as we're likely going to test things out for the players, make sure that everyone is stable for the moment. It is more important, especially as we are moving on to Storm Point, that over this shift in map, we're getting the same level of performance for everyone on this, because Storm Point has actually been giving us a little bit of trouble lately. mostly in, I think it was scrims. Storm Point was a little bit troublesome. So it looks like everything is working just fine, and we've got everyone on board. Our first game of Storm Point, our third game of the day, begins right now.
Yeah, seeing Storm Point, you know, always makes me happy because I like playing this map a lot. It's been so refreshing. All the map additions have been great. And I think that seeing this as well with looting eggs and stuff, playing from what they call Ferrari, from 100 Thieves here, is that you have really good rotates here because you have that car and you have, you know, the chokes and walkthrough. And seeing the zone swing as well, they're still in the next zone. Looks like the zone might be going north. This is one of the zones that we've always seen. And it's always on, I'm not gonna lie, it's always on land as well.
I think it's hard-coded, yeah.
It's definitely hard-coded. It's always between the eggs and the wall. And if not, it might pull up to the building with the zip line. But normally speaking, it's always around the wall.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. You mean where Exoclan are at?
Yeah, but the opposite side, southeast, yeah. But seeing these zone-in walls is both a treat and also nightmare because I wish we could see more zones.
Hey, it's our first game on
It is
Storm.
true.
We've got so much, it's a whole land ahead of us.
It is true.
Now, this is about returning to some familiarity for the teams, and this is a spot where teams like 100 Thieves, Ninjas, Exoclan should be really comfortable, especially when they've been landing here during scrims. They've been playing Storm Point for a very long time. Now, a team like Oblivion I'm curious about because Oblivion had a really rough time in our first couple of games, and they got a big win, in a way, by wiping out Fnatic in Game 2. That was awesome for them. But Oblivion are still a team that I think a lot of people are concerned about the future of in this LAN because they're an NALCQ team.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, like the stakes are a lot higher on land due to the fact that, you know, not the prize pool and so, but I'm saying the way people are playing. In scrims you might get punished every, 10 seconds. On land you get punished after 2 seconds. They might have won the fight against Fnatic, got instantly thirded. And right as we can see as well, Ninjas in Pajamas, more than familiar with the zones around wall because they actually used to drop really close and play all of these zones. EXO as well, like you said, very comfortable playing from here because they landed Cascade Falls. Easy rotate. They already have a slot. Let's see where the zone pulls later on. We should see more fights early than before, but more in general on this map.
Yeah, Ninjas in Pajamas have an interesting choice when they move up to the north like that. I'm surprised to see them put themselves up against Source X and Y. TSM popped the Trident, and I think they were following for a second, but are instead going to prioritize the Evo and then move themselves up out of Mill. Now, Mill's not where they landed. This was owned by Guild instead, who have long since gone. Guild really prioritizing their own way into zone. Their TSM are playing a little bit more edge, are a little bit more in the same category as Fnatic we saw during E-District.
Yeah, and I mean, we see a little bit of action here. Like I said, fights will happen more often on this map. NRG and Meteor are clashing over here right now in Echo. And this fight is honestly hard because unless you get to walk up the stairs or do something else, the top team will always engage on the bottom team, which is exactly what we're seeing here. Engage on top.
Double fight in theory, but instead it's a bubble ring around the rosy that does not seem to be going in the way of NRG. Meteor are doing very well, and they take out Noct first. This doesn't look like a recoverable angle, so Noct should be full thirsted, and he is. Meteor claiming the first kill as the rest of NRG are literally just sprinting for it. They're trying to make it out. Last shot not going to connect. Libel Ace doesn't pick up the kill, and Fun is going to be left watching this evac tower go up.
They are not letting them leave. They are evacing right on top of them after the longbow action. They say, hey, you guys are not leaving. We are taking this fight on to you guys. You are not getting to reset because we are jumping on you.
I saw that charge rifle shot land, though, and it was scary! Meteor landing right on top of the Sheila! They've got a 2v1 going on, and Meteor do get one knock, but they get the kill right back. It is another kill going the way of Meteor, but that was really close and very well held by Guild, because he's at least bought time with how long and difficult it took to take him out for the rest of his team, the single person on his team to escape.
Little Fun running away here now. Made it out alive, like you said, due to the fact that Gil managed to buy time with the Sheila. And I think that's the most important part. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2, as long as you make it out and you can reset, the game is still alive and well.
Gaming. That up and Wall for a different look at the game as we're sort of alternating between really hard edge teams and teams that are basically in the dead center of zone, and more of them are going to be dead center of zone because wall has a lot of spaces to coexist, and you can play on the outside of the wall if you, I think, really are late. But VK Gaming have the benefit of being in one of the main buildings. We have a lot of end zones that pull right on top of VK.
Yeah, I mean, it mainly pulls like a little bit outside of their buildings, but they are in a great spot because once we said as well, they're playing, you know, double support means you have playable area with Gibby and Newcastle. Normally you wouldn't be comfortable playing outside, but with these team comps they are. And we're also seeing other teams on the edge doing the same rotate with the timing, hoping that they can be the last team coming in from a side, because once you're in that pinch, when you're that ham, you're not happy.
We're going to be seeing this tech so much. I remember like wishing that we would see this tech more back before Gibby was meta again, but back before he became meta recently. That's not how I wanted to say that, but that's fine. I remember wishing that we saw more Bubble Tridents, and now that Gibby is meta, almost required.
Yeah.
Bubble Tridents are all we're going to see. Why would you take a Trident if you weren't also invincible in said Trident? It's free.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good choice to do because it helps your macro, and then not only that, it makes your macro possible that if you don't have a car, is not possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I would say, sometimes you can make stuff macro with evac, sometimes you can make it with, by running. But when you have a car and a Gibby, it opens up endless possibilities of making gap closes that you normally would never be able to do.
It's like having a really...
Oh, and you see? The zone pulled towards the SIP buildings. We'll have to see now. It could pull back up a little bit because it normally could end around Complexity, the big rock. I've played that exact fight on the LAN 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see if it ends up pulling around the big rock where the other zip line goes up to the height is. But if not, we're going to see humongous fights on the cliff later on that I love. I love playing the hill here because you get to shoot absolutely everyone.
I would be so taken aback if it actually pulled all the way out of wall. Like, part of my soul just thinks that we're going to go a little bit back towards Cloud9, a little bit back towards Complexity. There's going to be part of the wall that's playable. To pull so far south, I mean, not only would it shake me, it would shake the game plan of a lot of teams, but before we get there, you're going to have to make it to this hillside where you called out. We may very well see a lot more battles. FaZe Clan right now have set themselves up in the dominant position, and while Shopify Rebellion poked, they saw and went, you know what? It's not worth the fight, which is surprising given how well and aggressively Shopify Rebellion were playing on New District.
I think that they saw their armors and decided it's not worth to take this fight. We can probably find another angle where a team is weaker in terms of armor that we can steamroll. And also, FaZe is known for playing that side. Even when I scrimmed against them before, they always do the same macro. That's their same exact macro. They always like coming out of command into holding that area and then fighting whoever comes in because they want to be the team that comes in late with the zone. And they have, I assume they've been holding their presence there forever because the fact that they decided not to take that fight means that they're respecting them.
Now, Shopify Rebellion are just pulling a play right here. We saw them go up that huge zipline in command center. They're going to evac off the back of this command center high ground and then just find a place to play. It is a little bit risky in a way because you are evacing when you otherwise wouldn't need to. But given how early in the game it is still, this should be a pretty good rotate.
Yeah, I like seeing this evac because I always do this. I oob and land on the roof if it's free. And if it's not free, you can land underneath and run inside. And they are oobing, and like I said, they're running underneath inside. And this is one of the plays that you can do. You can decide because now the other team is playing on the roof, and they got inside for free. And that's the biggest thing about evacing is that you have the option, especially earlier on as well, is that you can see it from really far away. So it's not really that risky, which is a good play, and they made it work, and they're in the next zone and the next zone.
And now Dragons are forced to play re-entry. We're going to watch that happen, but first it's going to be Meteor fighting up against NRG, who were caught in the open, didn't bubble, didn't anything in time, and again, lose Nocturnal, lose Fun. This is the second time that we're seeing this team torn apart, and speaking of tearing people apart, Shopify Rebellion have already started in on Dragons, but they lose one. Zainu answering back very quickly onto Azazel, and it's a 2v1, make it a 2v0 for Shopify Rebellion, as now Virtus Pro come on in, and Virtus Pro have certainly got the firepower to take out Shopify Rebellion. Nice Thermite does connect, but immediately outplayed. Zach Mazer gets shut down by Koifel. Koifel gonna be answered back, and it is a 1v2. So Virtus Pro get to keep this building because Shopify Rebellion prioritized survival. Zainu going to ult himself and then try and make it out, but I'd be surprised to see Zainu survive any meaningful distance.
This is the scary part, is that when a lot of teams want to coexist with each other, and I think that's what Shopify was, betting on. They say, hey, let them have the roof, we play inside. Dragons opted to take the engage on them. I don't know if they found an opening, I don't know if they got a pick, but taking that fight is really risky because you are 1,000,000% getting guaranteed 3-peat, and also the zone is ending exactly where I expected. It's a great zone. We will see so much action on this hill rock, and now we're also seeing action on the north side from the team, Source X and Y, played here since Circle 1, Zone 1.
They've actually done very well, Source X and Y. My question is how they'll make it through the wall, since a lot of teams are going to be congesting the south side of wall. They cannot rotate south, really. They just forced Oblivion into it. Oblivion honestly can't pull that rotate off either, so Source X and Y are going to have to gatekeep teams while also moving themselves forward. It's a really difficult task, and it's another fight on two fronts that you don't want to take if you don't have to.
Yeah, most definitely. And not only that, it's all the early teams that went there into the buildings very early on. They're now gatekeeping each other because they misread the zone. And this is what happens. When you misread the zone, you go from holding to getting held. And when you're getting held by 4, 5, 6 teams, it's gonna be messy regardless of what, because there's always the option of getting thirded. And as we can see, there's like 4 teams lining up to kill me.
There's like an X and Y ninjas in pajamas EXO feud, and now Oblivion. It's the whole mashup of teams is just people taking one off of each other at a time, and we're still at a place in the game where we've got 18 teams left, but we are going to drop a lot of teams as we move into this next zone because of exactly situations like are happening at the north of wall, where you just don't have the space to take from other teams because other teams also want to take it from you as they come from behind. Source X and Y going to be our first team to fall of those 4 as Oblivion do take them out and continue to move in towards the wall, but they are immediately spotted, this time by 100 Thieves, who are playing Gatekeeper, and we have got a lot cooking in wall, just as much, you might say, as we've gone outside of it as Green Stego face off against Meteor.
Meteor fighting Green Stego close range here into a double bubble fight is the most important part here. Seeing that even though you have the utility, if you don't know how to play the bubble, you're gonna get punished. Did you see that every fight in here right now, it was a 2v1 swing every time? Although you hit 70 on me, if we hit 200 on you, we're gonna take you down, and it did that on repeat. However, TSM lurking in the building nearby, looking to 3P and clean up that fight pretty easy.
Yeah, at this point, it's just a game of distance. Green Stego going to go down, so both teams falling there. Green Stego and Meteor not able to defend the building, but TSM, with minimal effort, are able to come in and clean up not just the loot, but the kill that ends up falling with the fight as well. It's now TSM and Shadow 3690 who will approach from the south. Remember, we still got FaZe Clan playing up on the height as well, a team to look forward to, and 100 Thieves, who were the gatekeepers of Wall, who chose to stick around and really push onto other teams, only got 1 kill for it, and now are stuck in Wall in the same situation as they gate-kept Oblivion from.
Yeah, they're getting gate-kept right now. They're looking to score too many fights, I think. Getting bubbled up on. Also Sheila getting run at by hitting 200 damage with the Sheila. Getting pumped in the back, however. Getting a reset at the same time. It's so chaotic. So many bubbles, so much reset power.
Jen's in the fight. Design peeks over the wall, but we've got a couple teams involved in this. It's not just a 1-team v 1-team situation. 100 Thieves are now watching a separate 3v3 go down, as they unfortunately will fall. EXO Clan end up picking up these kills, but Complexity are still in this, and EXO lose control of the fight, not expecting it. Newcastle Wall going to be placed down, shattering the enemy as K-Swinny does fall. Complexity do not wrap up the fight on EXO, but they know they've got to move. Unfortunately, Monsoon peeks into the open. No bubble, no safety. Monsoon goes down. Kimchi is 1, and it's just enemy left.
Slayers come in and actually clean out Complexity because they left him in the zone. He was healing in the zone, but managed to get the team wipe before going out, getting knocked out themselves. But getting those kills, like I said, All you need is to stack points, getting those 2-3 extra kills on top of 100 teams before could close out the round for them.
TSM getting besieged by FaZe Clan up top. The Thermite doesn't quite connect, but TSM's move up to FaZe Clan is nearly impossible. These two teams are going to be at each other's throats. TSM are now being shot at by Shadow 3690. Very little they can do there as C9 take a fight. This is up against BK Gaming, and it's just one left. We'll see what the Peacekeeper can do, as I'm not seeing the weave through on this Newcastle. Last couple shots with the L-Guard not connecting, but they do at the very end. Cloud9 going to go down, but that is a 1 HP survival by BK Gaming.
Yeah, BK Gaming opted to just rush that res, and it ended up paying out for them, because sometimes if they just stick that res, it's really hard to get the wipe. The other guy managed to cancel the res and go for the fight, and BK came out on top. Good play.
TSM
doing what you like the most.
Exactly. They were like, you know what? Our spot actually loses us the game, so what if we were just invincible for a few seconds and then we relocated? They've got low ground here, which I don't necessarily love, but they are right next to Shopify.
And we also talked about Sainu. Can he stay alive? He's staying alive, doing his best right now, sitting next to the zipline rock right there. Still staying. However, BK should be spotting out something later on. We'll have to see if they decide to go over the top. But if he's lucky, they might fight TSM. And who knows if Sainu pulls something out of there, maybe a couple of kills and creeping.
You know, it's possible, it's possible. I remember thinking,
oh,
not going to make. They're sending it over the wall! TSM just jumped right on that res! BK Gaming did not expect that, and it is 2 quick kills, followed by a delivery from on high. Now, BK Gaming do get taken out, but it's by Sainu!
I said it could happen. However, does TSM know where Sainu is now from shooting those scouts bullets? I don't know. Another team is driving as well towards that same area. Sainu trying to stay alive in between 3-4 teams right now, getting shielded and everything.
Yeah, that guy's getting pushed. That's not working for him. TSM, they know what's going on up here as well. I am so surprised that Sainu is still alive somehow. But finally, Shopify Rebellion will go down. A well-played game by Sainu. He got a lot done there, but there's so much more going on across the map as FaZe even are on single digits of HP and do get a bubble to reset briefly. TSM climbing up onto the high ground, challenging Fnatic, and they don't lose much HP for doing so, but do ultimately back off. It's not TSM's time. You've got to wait on the low ground to strike, and now could be the perfect time as FaZe have just been taken out by Guild.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why they opted for the tree roll pit instead on the southeast side. That side is always clustered. However, Fnatic trying to hold on top of the zip line is also very risky because you're not going to get engaged from the building side. They're no longer in on the zone.
With Fnatic going down, TSM could take this zip line up. It is just Virtus Pro on top defending it right now. Guild are forced to play the low ground. Shadow are forced to play the low ground. And even now, TSM are patient, Shadow are patient, Guild are patient, Virtus Pro are holding their space.
We've seen this patience over and over again. They're opting for the low ground to say, when can we join their fray? We don't want to be the first one to start a fight. We want to be the one to close the fight so we close the game out for us. TSM staying disciplined and focused on making sure that, hey, we want to win this game, not just get our kills. However, they're looking to force Shadow into the other side.
It's just like last game with 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Thinking about how they won it all, and TSM started moving up, and like I said,
not overextending.
It's not about wiping out the whole team here, but you'll do it if you can. Good lord. Yep. Verholst melts even through the rampart wall, and Shadow 3690 disappear.
Now we shall see who pushes who into what. TSM is looking in the best spot right now, because I believe, speaking of how the zone is closing towards, VP should be further closer to Guild than TSM needs to go up fast. Also depends on if they have evacs or not. But I think that the top teams should have to fight unless something drastically happens. Wasting bubble early now could be risky.
It's tough because, well, TSM moving up this zip line is the right play for them.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro committing to that fight is absolutely the wrong play for them. Virtus Pro have so much other space to work with that TSM should know exactly how safe they are. And now with Guild starting to apply pressure to Virtus Pro as well, this is going to be an unending barrage that they cannot survive through. Guild hold on to this high ground. They're simply applying pressure with the Newcastle ultimate, but now we've got a few seconds.
We get a couple of seconds of Bubble. Bubble came back up right on time for the Gibbons to not close them out. Now they have to decide, do we drop to play for second or do we try to play for first? It's going to be a tough bet. TSM is looking really good here right now because nothing is happening. But if a team does drop, it's going to be really hard. Evax coming out, they might be looking to join the fray soon.
Catalyst wall for stall is good, but wondering about these Sky Nades. Not going to connect onto Virtus Pro this time. You're seeing a lot of utility used. That's a lot of ultimates, both bubbles, plenty of nades as well. Phony actually managing to shoot out the evac tower, denying TSM the rotation up. Guild set up, but TSM trying to take the evac tower, do not make it, so it's just these two. Guild and Virtus Pro fight it out, and Guild cannot make it up. They cannot shoot back at Virtus Pro, and they fall so far into wall as Virtus Pro take the win.
That's the biggest thing we've seen. I'm gonna say a quick play-by-play. They used Bubble early to bait out the Gibeon, managed to get Bubble back for the second part so they didn't go down, managed to extend not fighting early with the catwalk. And after that happened, TSM was just like, are they not gonna fight? They have to fight soon. No, we gotta take the we're gonna take the oh no, they're dead to zone because it took too long. Amazing stall by both teams up top, making it so that they could not join the fray.
Yeah, ultimately, Catalyst is the biggest part of that, because Catalyst is the only thing that can make a team, two teams, that are as far apart as we are, not fight. Because they can, it's like, I don't see you, we'll just pretend that you don't exist for right now. We're going to have to fight eventually, but it's after this timer. Because peeking through a Catalyst wall is a nightmare. Shooting through a Catalyst wall, especially in this meta, very little that you're actually going to do. You get 3 shotgun
shots immediately towards you, you go down immediately. And if it's a Catalyst, it gets thirsted, wall goes by, like it's crazy.
Yeah. Like, so Catalyst really influencing that end game in, I think, a really fantastic way for both teams who were on high ground. It was the right play for both, and I wouldn't have been surprised to see Guild win that. Despite smart cooldown usage by Virtus Pro, it really came down to mechanics at the end, which was one of the best parts about Apex, is that you get to play up to a certain level, and then your hands have got to do the talking. Virtus Pro walk away with a 20-point game, and Guild very proud with their 14 points. TSM, not a shabby game either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of Virtus Pro from having a solid first game into this. I'm pretty sure they cemented themselves moving on to the next round. They should be really happy with this game, how it pulled out, and the fact that they managed to make Catalyst work. A lot of people have been, wondering, no, did we just go ramp like everybody else? No, they said, no, we're playing our way. It worked, and that's how you got to play the game. Sometimes being comfortable is more important than just following what might be, in quotes, the best for the moment.
Yeah. Virtus Pro looking very good. Also, we had a lot of praise for Guild. I am impressed with the presence of mind. I know that it's a very small thing, something that might seem very obvious, but it is nice to see the Rampart usage of the Sheila to take out the evac tower that would have otherwise let TSM up. It pushes both teams, Guild up to 6th, Virtus Pro up to 2nd in this lobby. This is, of course, groups A and B who are playing each other for the first time and are now halfway done with it. The Shopify Rebellion still in the lead, but Virtus Pro very impressively coming up behind them after that win.
Yeah, I mean, I think now people are starting to feel like the teams that are, I would say, above 20 points, anywhere between 18 to 20 points plus, are feeling really comfortable because they're like, hey, we only need 12 points, ±5, but normally around that marker, to make it through to the next round. Whereas the teams, however, down below, feeling kind of scared right now. You've had 3 games, and if you haven't really made anything happen just now you're starting to get this whole, this game needs to be big. And then if you die, this game needs to be big, and it starts setting in the nervous part.
Yeah, I almost wonder what the best move for a team that is in the bottom half would be, because we have a lot of teams there, and we have a lot of teams there that might not have been expected to be there. So we've got a lot of insights here. We've been talking for a while, Graceful, but I'm going to hand it over to our big brains on the analyst desk for more on games 1 through 3.
Big brains. Thank you so much, Dia. You guys demonstrated all the brains we need for this broadcast to kick off smoothly, as well as Graceful, giving that insight professionally as to how those fights are probably going inside the minds of the players as we welcome you back here onto the desk at Daiwa House. Rain Days, again, joined by Glitter Explosion, Snipe Down, and Jamerson to break down the action. 3 games gone by, 3 different winners, some getting maybe some what felt like some weights, some nervousness off their shoulders so far. Maybe think of 100 Thieves there, and some hometown victories, Fnatic grabbing a win as well, Lauren.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool way to kick off our LAN here in Japan. I mean, we started on Aegis too, right? First time we get to see that at LAN. And it was great.
One of the greatest things about this is we kind of get to dive a little bit more into how things happen in E-District. I asked you about it earlier, Snipe. Let's talk about this one because it was Meteor and Fnatic, 2 APAC North teams going head-to-head to see if they can get the win.
Yeah, we actually talked a little bit about both these teams, which is hilarious. We talked about just APAC North and can they live up to the hype. You know, this is their hometown event, and both these teams enter the top 2, so I'd say the pressure isn't affecting them, and they're here to put on a show. Not to mention the Valk pick that got them in this position in the first place. We have a lot of shoddy battles coming down to this final fight, and honestly, it just gets down to getting the height, getting the position, spreading out, making sure you're not all grouped together so you guys can take different angles, put the good EVA shots into the backs of the bigger characters like the Gibraltars and the Newcastles, and that's what you see right here. You see these bubble fights, and overall, you see the Fnatic kind of all 3 played up, played outside the bubble, kept their shields up, pushed back in. It was great.
A wonderful start. Of course, in the house, it went crazy, but another team maybe online going crazy. Big fan base in the 100 Thieves. It's Timmy, Jin Burton, Designful. They grabbed the first win. Jamerson?
Yeah, this was a fantastic endgame. I mean, having 100 Thieves, Shopify Rebellion, and NRG involved in this final 3-way battle for the win, but you saw that 100 Thieves were able to just bide their time here on the low ground. We had big fighting up top between Shopify Rebellion and NRG, and I believe, saw it from the perspective of Shopify Rebellion. They were sizing them up, and we were able to get a little bit of a listen in, I believe, as well. And there were some important comms in that one. I think it's going to be super important for Shopify Rebellion moving forward about slowing things down in the end game there, and that's definitely what they did. Unfortunately, though, it came down to NRG making the push onto Shopify Rebellion that created the opening for 100 Thieves to push out and take the win.
So much confidence earned from getting a win that early with a team we had questions about, but Lauren, really not a lot of teams that we expected to be here except maybe TSM in this final zone, Guild, and of course Virtus Pro going up into it. Virtus Pro find a way to get it done.
Yeah, and this was a really cool end zone because Eric and I were talking about it. We even heard Graceful and Dia mentioning it. It looked like this was going to go the way of TSM. They were able to bide their time really well on that low ground, and they were waiting to let these 2 teams cannibalize each other. They put the balloon down, and the catwall really threw off everyone's timing. Had TSM gone up a little bit earlier, they might have been able to pull this one out, but we're not expecting to see that come down there at the end. It really bought the extra time VP needed and Guild needed to continue this fight, but VP just had that little extra inch of space, able to kind of edge Guild off, push them down, and close out game number 3.
Finding a way to find a way. That is what Virtus Pro did. High ground didn't look good for a while, but they made it work. Also, Koiful on Shopify Rebellion, 9 kills so far. In terms of a head-to-head performance, these 2 are out in front. And to note, it is Shopify Rebellion who are at the top of the leaderboards overall, Snipe. They haven't won a game yet. That's impressive, and also demonstrates how well they're actually playing, even if they're not the last team standing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a testament to how good the skill is on that team. Like we talked about with the vibes, I think MT is just going to put them in the right spots. And then you have, I mean, we saw Koiful with the Sheila. I think he had 8 kills in 1 single game. Nice. So, I mean, the slaying power is there. And then I'm so happy they showed Lou. I talked about him so much at the last event with Complexity being a main slayer, and he's bringing those same talents to this new roster.
And, you know, you might have seen a sneak peek there. It's okay to go to it. We just wanted to give a big shout out to somebody who's not here right now, and there's a very good reason for it. She's been with us all through these last years of Apex. She would definitely be up here having a blast in Japan. I think she's doing a watch party right now, but it's for a good reason. Little baby H is due in spring. Spider Tiff, we love you. We're so happy about the blessing. New kids coming to the Apex family. It's great to see you in Ashton. So happy with that. So lots of love to them. Send some love over to Spider Tiff. Jump into the stream. Say hi. I know we wish she could be here, but hey, babies come first. You know what I'm saying? You got to make it happen. You got to make it happen. But what a also good reminder that there is just a lot of moving pieces here, and everyone, even these players, these coaches, getting here, not getting here, you know, it's still all up to the wire, like down to the wire, to make your roster and this moment happen. And so that's why I think when you look at a team like 100 Thieves, which I kind of wanted to tee up, they almost didn't make it here because of a lot of logistics, a lot of things getting dropped, trying to figure out where to go. But then they get here and they get a win in the first 3 games. I feel like, Lauren, that is a huge confidence boost for the rest of this tournament, that they can actually do something here.
Absolutely, and you were talking about individual performances in that specific match. Timmy had 7 kills himself. So, I mean, there are teams and individual players that are seizing this moment. You talk about it all the time as a host, right? How important the minuscule opportunities here when you get to this stage, you have to absolutely grab it and do whatever you can. They came ready to play.
I'm excited for that fan base. I'm excited for those players as well. I'm excited for you because we're about to hand it over for some more action to finish off games 4, 5, and 6. But a little reminder, on Friday, we have something we're calling the Sapporo Creator Showdown. 24 participants featuring streamers, creators, and more. And when I say more, oh, it's more. There's some other big-time names coming through. They're going to play Launch Royale. They're going to play a big TDM. It's going to be a blast. This is Friday, 1700 JST. So stay tuned for that. It will be a lot of fun. All right, we've got our action all ready for first 3 games, and now it's time to finish off our very first series of the day. And with that, we bring in 2 new beautiful faces who we haven't seen in a while here in LAN. It's, of course, Vicky Kitty and Gino.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. I mean, with the hype that we just opened up with 3 games, you see plethora of different approaches from some of these teams, and we saw E-District to open up the day. Obviously, 1 game that we just saw too on Stormpoint, and it's been exciting to see how the off-season has treated a lot of these players, Gino.
Yeah, look, new location for LAN, completely new meta, new map to start it off with. It's been fantastic here, but yeah, it'll be Stormpoint and then World's Edge to finish off this match, this series of 6 matches.
The old and true World's Edge, where a lot of our legends feel very comfortable on that map. But of course, the same thing could be said about Stormpoint. I like how Graceful likes to break down basically the comfortability that we see from Stormpoint, but even the different approach that we see some teams may take, with EXO opting to use the Loba at one point. We saw a Valkyrie to try to get through certain chokes. But the one thing that we've obviously been seeing between scrims and into this event has been that Gib, Newcastle, and Rampart with a little mix of the Catalyst, so that way you could get some cover when it comes to some of these rotates.
Yeah, it's been fascinating watching that meta evolve throughout scrims leading up to this. We had the change that saw Newcastle's shield become destructible once again, and that just opened up a whole new facet of this game. Sheila and Rampart come in and become an integral part of the meta and actually take over as that sort of 3rd most pick coming into this.
Thank goodness, right? Hasta la vista to the mobile shield. And no looks, obviously, at any gold knockdowns. Woo! So the changes up a lot here when it comes to some resets that we see, but still the double support that has been that mainstay thing here as we get to look at some of the heads in the crowd. By the way, this event is next level. Not only are we finally in Japan, but we get to see how these fans have been able to interact with some familiar faces here in person.
Yeah, I can only imagine the roar from the crowd when Fnatic won that first game, right? Home crowd, home win. Just an awesome way to start off the event. But look, they're not the only team picking up points. 100 Thieves there, of course, in game 2. And, you know, Shopify Rebellion have been performing. Definitely a couple of teams still leading from the front here.
Shopify Rebellion, a team that has not taken a dub yet still remains in that #1 spot thus far after these 3 games, really highlighting, like what Snipedown said, the strength behind these individual players.
Exactly, and I think he put it really well, right? I mean, you've got MT, previously known as one of the best hyper-rotate IGLs, and but he wasn't a one-trick pony, right? They've put him in this new team where all of a sudden he has more firepower than you can shake a stick at, and once they get into those clutch situations, you know that Koiful and Zainu are going to back him up and just blast everything in their path.
You highlighted it perfectly. Koiful and Zainu are the fragger demons that come to mind. In the series alone, Koiful has been able to drop 9 kills and almost match the same damage as Zainu, who's dropped 6 KP with 4,000 damage across only 3 games. So you could tell that this team, despite not being able to get the dub just yet, it's inevitable with the way that they've been playing so aggressively.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind that they will be picking up some wins in this group stage. And yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing to talk about as well when we're looking at this meta, of course, yeah, most teams is not quite at 100%, but almost there in terms of the Gibby and the Newcastle duo. And it just depends on your team dynamics, who you want to put on those different characters, Vicky. And I think Shopify Rebellion is an interesting one to highlight when we're talking about that, because MT has always had a very collaborative IGL style. He likes talking through things with his teammates. When it comes down to it, he can make the important calls. Unlike some other teams, you know, we've seen that with, say, 100 Thieves, where they can struggle a little bit and get caught up in the back and forth. But yeah, look, he'll throw it over to Zainu, and that's why we see Zainu on Gibby.
Being able to be flexible here, too, when we move on. Once again, 2 Storm points. First 3 matches done and dusted. Match number 4 on the horizon as we get set up here for Storm Point before we dive into those last 2 games within these groups on World's Edge. 5k damage, by the way, for VP on that last game. That was absolutely massive. I also love to be able to see that double-digit KP from Fnatic and 100 Thieves. I feel like it's a bookmark, right, for Fnatic to really put a staple on that first map, to really get everybody hyped up, but they have to stay consistent.
Yeah, but I've just noticed that there was only orange, black, and white in those logos, by the way. I don't know. Is there something going on there? Have we got a theme for the rest of this series? Who knows? Let's see. But yeah, look, Lou was popping off. He, you know, picked up 9 kills so far, 4k damage in the series. He is definitely been a massive pickup from Virtus Pro, and he's been showing it all year, honestly. Even when he was on Complexity with Monsoon, he was, honestly, it's been a standout year for that guy, and on Virtus Pro's looking no worse at all.
Also the synergy too. Once you have these players combined together, what they can really make happen has been fantastic. But again, it's that consistency where we're looking at Fnatic, same thing for VP. As we get this flyby here and looking at the legend compositions that we've seen thus far, we've been seeing the Gibby, we've been seeing the Newcastle insert Rampart Catalyst out here. And let's get started, everybody. We got game number 4 underway. In the last game, we did see that hilltop battle on the south side of wall where that end zone had ended up pulling over, seeing how a lot of these teams are going to opt for their quick rotation.
Yeah, unfortunately that wall was just a little too high for Guild to crawl, to climb in the end there. But hey, they'll take that second place. 9 placement points on the line and gets them into 6th overall right now, I believe, with 23 points.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Even Phony, you know, as the IGL, picking up the most KP so far. So, yeah, look, good on them. But it's Virtus Pro who... It was an interesting start to the series for them. You know, they had that that fun little contest. Not quite contest, but an early fight with Ninjas in Pajamas down at Energy Bank, of course, reminiscent of their time fighting over Sito Station on Storm Point. But they managed to recover, even after taking some early losses and bounce back into it. And then, well, it's been full steam ahead since then for VP.
Say recover, I mean, you're also going to have the zone pulling in your direction while they have the high ground over Command Center and the Evil Harvester. Now maybe even seeing with Ninjas now moving ahead to see if they could get some information. There is that server beacon uphill too by that cable cart, but also even more interesting to see VK Gaming with their quick rotate exiting out of Stormcatcher.
Okay, so with the zone going, you know, pretty well for VP here. Of course, they've got the Catalyst. It's a bit hard to see with all the players running through Command Center right now if they've actually got the ring console and they have that information. But one of the other things I want to note was there's an Evo Harvester in a great spot. So if they do actually work out where this is going, Vicky, sometimes you can get stuck on whites and it's really tough, but that will allow them to get hopefully a good spot, stay on blues, and just sit tight for this game and maybe even move up to first.
Especially when you have so many teams playing for that objective as a priority versus trying to see if they could go in for a quick rotate. And with that Evil Harvester being right there, it's nice to see how those 3 teams that are within that area are going to collapse on one another on the exit point of Command Center. So many squads already on the move here as 100 Thieves, Gen, PK in hand, dancing around the dome. You can see the Newcastle wall also activated here. Timmy goes down, he gets another crack, and 100 Thieves get eliminated from behind here. Great looks here for Oblivion trying to make the comeback, but a quick pause at that after saying goodbye to 100 Thieves in the lobby as the first team.
Well, look, at least the fight had finished, right?
That is true. That is true.
It's a lot rougher when you're mid-fight and you get a pause and you have to wonder, you actually have this time to like plan out things in your head. We actually heard from one of the teams, I think it might have been Meteor. I was watching a little interview that got done with them, and they were saying there was a pause in the previous LAN where they were creeping up on someone. It got paused, but they just started making footsteps. So instead of sort of having that element of surprise, the other team just instantly 180'd as soon as they came back from the pause, right? So, there's these interesting interactions that you can get. Obviously, if there's a serious issue, we want to be able to fix that and make sure that, the players aren't at a disadvantage that way. But it's interesting how that will actually play out in some of these lobbies.
A little bit of shambolic town, honestly, with the way that could really happen. It's a double-edged sword in a case like that. And, aside from the fact that we did see the end of that fight, I'm thinking about teams that have already gone ahead with that rotate. We saw an evac tower that was called in close to the south side of Cascade Falls. A lot of squads already on their rotate, exiting out of Zoo Station, where there is a ring console there too for the teams in the middle of their pathing to be able to get that information. But I feel like with a zone like this, we've seen zones like this so many times where you could expect a lot of that chaos to be on that north side uphill where you have that height advantage. Looking at the squads that